Let's begin. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thursday, even. Can't even remember what day it is. Praise be the spiral. Let me get rid of my. I was looking at Talkie Toaster, thinking that'd make a good background. Or maybe not. Damn it. I shouldn't tell you what I'm going to put in the background. Thank you for the host, Andy Magic Knight. Very much appreciated. Cheers. I'm on the cider tonight. Oh. Already I'm seeing an issue here. Oh, okay. No, I'm not. Hey, Thalamus. And thank you for the... Why are you gifting subs to the Nightbot? Do we even use Nightbot? Why is Nightbot in my stream? And why are you gifting subs to it, man? Was it Nightbot works? Nightbot does not work hard. Nightbot does nothing. Nightbot does nothing. Anyway, good Thursday evening to you all. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to my holodeck. Hope you're doing well. Nightbot works in IT then. Yeah. Chan has less hair. Yes, I do. It's glorious. Oh, whenever I do that, the green screen appears. Whenever I put my finger near the camera, don't know why. See, Shimmerbot is envious of Nightbot. So before we start, I just want to, for those who don't already know, the Cassette 50 competition has been decided now. Let me bring up the results. Absolutely amazing work as well. These are the top 10 that got through. I don't know if you can see that. So we had to play all 56 of these games and score them on various criteria. I think we each kind of scored things very differently. So the scores were kind of all over the place for some games. I don't think. I think other than maybe the top 3 or 4 games, I think the rest of them were kind of a bit all over the place, which is good, right? It's good that people we got a varied kind of view on it. But one thing we all definitely decided on was Tiny Bubbles was an absolute gem of a game, and to be done in 4K, well, less than 4K actually, done in that area of memory, it was incredible as well. It looks like a proper full game. Let me just find it here for those who haven't seen Tiny Bubbles. So this is Tiny Bubbles. So it's a kind of puzzle bobble style game, but it looks absolutely complete. I mean, there's nothing about it that looks. Oh, somebody got Cecconoid background on. Oh, it's not working in that. Typical. Hang on, let me put it in the. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Looks spot on and plays really well as well. It's got sound. You probably can't hear the sound, but it does have sound in it as well. Really good game. If you were just given this, you'd be hard pushed to tell it was a 4K game. So, well done to Pixess for that. Very good game. And congratulations to everybody in the top 10. All very good games. I want to give a special mention to 2 games that didn't make it into the top 10, which I thought were really standout games as well. So I want to point out. Let me see. Let's find the submissions. No, not the screenshots. Not the submission feed. The submissions. There we go. So where are they? Bloop was one. So this was actually my top rated game. I think it's a really good piece of game design. It's very original. It feels weird. It's got a kind of Jeff Minter kind of vibe to it, and it's just a great game. Really enjoyed it. I think if you've got a game, space and source of phone, it will help drive hardware sales and interest in developing for it. So yeah, this has really good sound as well. And it just gets a little bit crazy as well. So it's just got nice feel to it. Nice little effects going on here and there. Very Minter-esque style to it. But I really enjoyed that. I found that really cool game. And the other game, which I think was really well done, definitely most of my probably my in my opinion the most addictive of all the games in here was Old School Coders Millipede game in Petsky. This has just got such a good pace to it. Everything about this game is spot on for a Millipede game. The only thing that really let it down is it wasn't an original idea, right? It was an idea that had already been done. But in terms of the execution, it's absolutely brilliant. It's got sound in it, very loud sound, but it plays really well as well. It's also not very good at it. Ah, but yeah, just done really well. So they were my my two picks that didn't make the top 10. But congratulations to everybody who did make the top 10. I think you'll all be receiving a cassette once we've done it. We're just working on the loading system for it. All the games have been compressed and sorted out, so they load from tape. We just need to we just need to work out how we're gonna kind of provide those games. So yeah. But yeah, the Millipede was really good. I think it was a really good game. Really addictive gameplay to it. But every game in here was awesome that people entered and that they managed to get their games under the requirements. And some really clever uses as well of some really clever uses um, of kind of the memory and using procedural generation for various things as well. Let me just have a look from the first one. Big Time Bugger was really interesting. So at first, when I first played Big Time Bugger, I wondered what the hell it was, and then I realized this was actually the memory. You were actually exploring through the memory of the game itself. So it's a kind of exploration game where every square that you're in is part of the memory. So um, very cool to see that used. Very kind of quite original in its concept. Panic in the Bank was probably the best looking Petsky game as well. Panic in the Bank just looked amazing. Rogue 4K, very good procedural generation of the map. Very challenging as well. I struggled a lot on that game. Cyan Attack was an amazing side scroller as well. Honestly, unbelievable that was done in 4K as well. Lockdown, very original idea. Petsky Cave, similar to the Rogue 4K idea, incredible procedural generation. Also very difficult as well. I struggled with that. Little Red Hatchback, very good kind of racing simulator. Quite catchy soundtrack to that as well. Breakdance was very good as well. Breakdance was a dancing game, and Don't Block the Box. I can't remember what Don't Block the Box was actually. Don't block the but yeah, that was the box. You had to line the boxes up. That's pretty cool as well. But yeah, very good, very pleased with the entries, and we should hopefully be getting cassettes kind of sorted out soon. I'll be working with Jamie to help him get those cassettes kind of ready and build the menus for those as well. Hey, Duke Donuts, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Well, you're not streaming tonight? Oh yeah, I guess it's still a bit early for you, isn't it? Yet. Um, right, let's crack on with the cider, and let's get into the game. So what I thought we'd do tonight is we're going to do. Oh, thanks for the shout outs and stuff, Andy. Brilliant, thanks. We're going to have a take a look at the doors because it's one thing we haven't actually implemented in the games yet. So let's just load the game up. I've got to remember I've added yet another compile system to my array of things. So looking at the C stuff today, and yet another kind of shortcut for compiling. So you got a C64 question for me? Okay, I'll do my best. Shoot away. While you type that out, I'm going to sip some of this. I'm going to smoke some of this. What's the difficulty range on converting diskette games to carts? If it's single load, it's very easy. So if it's a single load game, you can pretty much just take a snapshot of the memory on the intro screen, figure out where the kind of entry address is, and then just drop it onto a cart. If it's multi-load, it's a bit different because there's so many different ways of doing loading. If it's a straightforward kind of file loading, so if the files it's loading from the disk just have file names and it loads like that, they're usually the simplest things to do. I've got a cartridge framework that I'm actually using for this. It's on my GitHub as well, I think. Uh, yes, it is on my GitHub, and that lets you treat the cartridge much like a file system. So with a little bit of work, you can kind of make it you can make it load files from the cartridge as if it was loading them from a disk, and then it's just a matter of kind of changing the disk routines out. If it uses sector loading, it's quite tricky. It gets a lot more difficult. Then you can still do a similar kind of approach, but you'd need to start treating the cartridge like it was laid out like a disk. So sector loading. Sorry, if it uses kind of track and sector loading, where you point it to a particular track and say read so many bytes from that location, then that's a little bit different. I haven't written anything for that. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could utilize the cartridge in the same way, but yeah. What game in particular is it? Is it a game I'll know? Maybe I've already taken a look at it and can give you some tips on it. Sentinel Worlds, War and Future Magic. No, I don't know. I don't know that. Well, I know Sentinel. I'm assuming it's. Oh, okay. No, it's not that then. Hmm. If it's an RPG, I would kind of expect it, especially from 1989, to probably be loading files from the disks rather than like loading actual from a file allocation table rather than direct from sectors. But I mean, it could be either. But it's an IBM PC conversion. Yeah, I would suspect it's probably just loading files from the disk. You can usually tell if you put the disk into the drive and do a directory on the drive. If you get kind of lots of meaningful file names with PRG on the end, then it's probably just going to be files on the disk. If the disks seem strangely empty, then it might be using sector loaders. So um, it's a fun exercise though, I've got to say. I've done a couple, and it's definitely a fun exercise. Okay, let's take a quick look. Oh, actually, is so I do have the music in here. Uh, are you doing the doors based on tiles? I am, but I'm going to load them dynamically from memory so they can change into um, anything I want. They're not going to be in the normal char set. I'm going to load them in from a separate area, because the doors are all going to be the same. So I'm going to load the doors in um, as needed into the char set from elsewhere. So where, I don't know, probably from the cartridge still, but it means I don't have to waste. Is it my session today? I offset them vertically. Okay, I have to offset them vertically by one char. I'll have to take a look at exactly what you've done with it, but I'm gonna draw them dynamically in chars, so they're going to be loaded in as chars, and then I'm going to kind of animate them by shifting them up Well, actually, not shifting the data up but just like removing one char at a time and shifting the characters up rather than the data as well. Uh, Thank you for the detailed breakdown of these methods. Yeah, no problem, no problem. If you've got any further questions, just contact me on Discord. I'm happy to help if I can. Um, yeah, disk swapping rarely is thought out well, unfortunately. These are the. Sorry, you want one of these? The 81. Get the 81, stick everything on one disc, and then you don't have to worry about the disc swapping anymore. But then again, that's a whole other world of fun as well, figuring out how to convert it into D81. It's sometimes easy, sometimes not. So same sort of problem, really. If it's a track and sector loader, then that's going to be really difficult to translate directly to D81. Whereas if it's a file loader, it's a bit easier. Yeah, 1581s aren't cheap. I think that was about £200 or something. It was quite expensive. Hey Zenda, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so while Thalamus is here, I just want to let you know. So this is the music using. This is Jason Page's music, and this is the rasa time that it takes using SID tracker. It's double. It's double what the Goat Tracker tune uses. So it wasn't entirely accurate that Sid Tracker is comparable, because it's really not. But as I said on stream on Saturday or Tuesday, whenever it was, the music's so good. I really don't want to change things, so I'm just going to find a way to work around it. It might mean I have to strip back a few things slightly in here, but yeah, I think it's worth it. Actually, do you want to keep the music a secret, Thalamus, or can we reveal a little bit of it? Maybe like a minute of it or something, just so people can hear how awesome it is. See why I'm reluctant to get rid of it. Maybe the first minute. All right, let me restart it. Okay, let me just pause the music. I'm just going to pause the music a second, and I'm just going to turn my desktop audio on. And Thalamus is going to be in full control of when this is going to stop. So this is Jason Page's music for Cecconoid. Stop. Hang on, let me turn it on first. So assuming it works, actually, it should do. Can you hear that? It's such a good rendition of the original as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It's really long as well, really long. Just want to grab the bass line, and then that's probably enough. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That's Jason Page's work. Really, really good. Really pleased with what he's done. And it goes on for about 6 or 7 minutes. It just gets better and better. It's very, very good. But yeah, I as Thalamus says, probably is good for now. I don't want to give you too much, because let's save that as something a little bit special for you guys when it comes out. But yeah, there you go. That's the a little bit of exclusive there. Is it going to have both music and sound effects, or just the music option? I think it's going to have just the music option. I will take a look into how easily I can I can work sound effects into the SID tracker player. I don't think it's going to be that easy to do. Um, but honestly, it's more this game is more about the music than it is the sound effects. I think, in my opinion. Um, so I don't think it will matter too much. We may have the option maybe to switch between one or the other. Um, but again, even if we do that, we still have to work out how to get the sound effect player to work with, because the problem with SID Tracker is while the sound that it does create is very good, um, it's it doesn't have any sound effects capabilities. So in order to play sound effects as well as the music, you either have to hack into the SID Tracker player, um, or create your own sound effect player. And even if we play sound effects separately from the music, we still need a sound effect player. So one way or the other, we either need to add more code in, which is not ideal, or we need to hook into the player itself. So okay. So what I want to do tonight, like I say, so I want to make the doors. So the way I'm going to do this is kind of similar to how the lasers work and how the not the mines, but the kind of unique stuff on some screens. So, oh, quiz and points. Yeah, let me give you all points. There we go. And let's start the races. The quiz for you guys. There we go. And stick the music back on. It's that game. That looks familiar. Those colours seem really familiar. Wait, I don't think that's Commodore. That looks very much like Spectrum. Hmm. Anyway, okay. So what we're going to do tonight? Yeah, we're going to do the door. So let me just boot this up and show you where that's going to go. So the first door is actually on the second screen, or the first screen in terms of what we're actually loading into. But it's the second screen in terms of where you actually start. So this screen. So this is our first screen over here. And this is our second screen. Um, and there's a door here. So basically what I need to do is I need to be able to define a door position. What's the point? Are all doors vertical? Um, or are there any horizontal doors? From what I recall, there are only vertical ones, but I might be wrong. Um, but we can do a separate piece of code for each of those anyway. So we'll have a. Oh, I think I saw a glitch then. This is the thing. Okay, yeah. Occasionally I see a glitch with this laser because of this music, unfortunately. And this is what I mean about having to dial things back a little bit. So I'll have to revisit the timings on this at some point. Horizontal would be a trapdoor. Burke. Yeah, it's quite rare that it glitches, but it does occasionally glitch, and it is due to these timings down here. Loving the new bombs. Yeah, I do, every 8 to 10 weeks, I'll shave it all off and reset, uh, and then I let it grow out again until I can't bear it anymore, and then reset again, and so on and so on and so on. Did I was just trying. I can't really say anything because I don't want to give anything away. But there's one background I was hoping that I'd see tonight. It's been typed in a few times already, but I think it's been missed in terms of timing. Okay, so I'm not going to worry too much about the timing of the laser for now. We'll leave that. So what I need to do is when we come into a screen like this, there's going to be a door setup that's attached to this screen. So if we just let me set my view up. Actually, do some coding now. We've been on for half an hour. Okay, so this is where I'm going to do all my code over on this side. I've really got into like, doing everything on the right hand pane rather than the left, which is unusual. But I think it's probably the size of my screen that's making it like that because I sit kind of facing that middle part there. So screen. So there are some screen specific code. I've got to remember where that is now. Maps, screens. Here we go. And this is our first. Well, this is the screen that we're loading into at the beginning. So what I need this to do is when we hit this screen, for it to initialize something here like this. See how we're setting a bonus pod. Oh, actually, no, that's the wrong screen, isn't it? Hang on, no, this one. Yeah, this one. So how we're setting these passable areas, it will be something like this where we'll add a door. So there'll be a macro for adding a door. Um, so I'm going to grab the screen macros. I'm going to put these over here, and we're going to take a look at what we need to. In fact, let's do it the other way around. Let's put that on that side. Let's put the screen on that side. So to start with, I'm going to make a very very simple macro that's just going to basically take um, a door, and it's obviously we're going to give it. It needs to know. Do you want to do? Hang on, I missed that. Do you want a door state flag for each screen, perhaps? Yes, there will be one on each screen. So the thing with the screen code, when the screen code loads in, um, it's already this is already in memory. This isn't something that loads from the cartridge. It loads from the cartridge once at the beginning, which resets all of these variables. Um, and then once it's loaded in, that's it. So the state of each screen is stored here as well. So in here we will have a door state value in here as well. So you'll be able to load a screen up, and then that screen is responsible for controlling the door on that screen. So for instance, on so for the instance, for instance, on this screen, the door is going to start shut. So our door state here will be uh, 0, like so, to say that it's shut. We'll initialize that here with that. So what we'll do is we'll say where is this on the screen. Let me just load the map up. Oh, just another point as well. I've decided that we're done now with that's the wrong one. With pick and mix, there won't be another pick and mix make a game stream. We'll be moving on to the Mega 65 on Saturdays. With the exception of one Tuesday where I may do once I've got the game kind of tidied up and polished a little bit and everything tied together. Um, I will do a gameplay stream where we'll set up a matchy virtual private LAN and do some net play vice plays on it where you get taken in turns playing against me sort of thing on that game, so we can give it a bit of a test and see how fun it is. And then I'll probably dish it out to a few people to test, and then it can go out. Um, but yeah, end of an era. So I mean, we reached about 70 streams with that. It's quite a lot. But I think I mean, I certainly learned a lot during it, and I'm pretty sure we've used that stream to kind of help lots of people kind of get off the ground with their coding. So I'm very proud of what we've achieved with it, even if I'm kind of sick of the sight of it now. I can't remember which one it was. It's this one. Yeah, it is this one, I think. Yeah. Okay. So we're on this screen over here. like so. And actually, it's down a bit as well. Obviously, this is going to change once Andy's done the map. But for now, I would never have made a C64 game without ended up making 16. Yeah, you've been quite prolific actually. So I'm pleased we got you into the scene. I really am. So and again, your cassette 50 entries were awesome. So thank you. Okay, so we need to know the X position of the door. So in this case, it's what's that? 38, and the Y position, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So wait, one, yeah, 9. So 8 actually. So 38, 8. So we've got a position, and then we need a length of the door. So the door has to be at least too long because it needs an end cap and a starting cap and an end. It needs end caps basically, um, which will work into this algorithm in a minute. And in this case, it's 6 long. So it's 6 long, and then we pass in the door state. So this is just an initial state. Is the door open or closed? Because when we add the door, we also need to draw the door the first time as well. Then when that door is drawn, we can have some extra methods as well. So there'll be probably a door reference or something. Actually, is there going to be more than one door on a screen? I'm not sure. Have a think about that, but we'll work that out when we get to it. I don't think there is more than one door on a screen. I think there's only ever one. I may be wrong on that. Thalamus, is that something? Is there more than one door on any screen, or is there only ever one? I think there's only ever one. I think because it's a lock-in for the Robotron, and there's also the one at the beginning, but I can't remember if there's another one later on or not. Can't remember at all. I'd have to have a look through the map, and I haven't got the entire map here. This is only a subsection of the map. Yeah, so wait, there's one there. Oh, there is a horizontal one as well. Okay, so we do need a horizontal door as well. Um, okay, that's fine. It just means we need to change our attack slightly on this. Uh, so I'm going to pass in a 1 or a 0 here, which is going to be our horizontal. So I'm just going to write above what this is actually doing. So this is X, Y, length is vertical, is open. So those are our values that we're passing into this macro here. So we need to make that macro over this side and try and trim it down to as small a macro as possible and turn the rest into a function. Uppercase E. What? No, no. You've got to work harder for your points. You're too far ahead. I'm not feeling that generous tonight. But thank you. I like that you will try though. It's kind of good. Okay. So I've been thinking about my assembler for 68K today, and I've decided I'm definitely going to go with Kick style code, but I'm gonna fix some of the things that bug me about Kick. So like the ability to scope macros for one. Being able to, so I want to be able to do this basically. That's something you cannot do in Gig Assembly. It will not let you do it. So that's one thing I want to do. But the other thing I want to be able to do is this as well. or something like that. So what this will do is it will fill 1024 bytes with this sequence recurring, or you could do something like something like that. So and possibly fill word as well. So there's a few things I want to do to improve on it, which I'm going to do as I go, basically. Um, yeah, it's a good point actually. Probably double word as well. Yeah, there's a few little things I want to add into it. Can it do that? If it can, then that's great. But I did not know you could do that. I thought you had to do it like this. I thought you had to do uh and then you could do something like that. Unless they've changed it. Maybe they've changed it. And then you had to do like mod uh, get mod something like that. So it was like crazy. But either way, I want to change it so that you can do like fill word or fill D word, and it just be really straightforward. I want it to be intuitive. I don't want it to be when you get to a bit and you're not sure. I want it to be that your first guess is probably going to be correct. Um, and that's one of the areas that it's not. So, or fill.w, yeah, I like that actually. Although the dot might be problematic. It depends how I'm gonna. You can fill a pattern like that. Ah, okay, that's good. Well, I may keep that, but also add so you don't need to do that. Because it shouldn't really matter if you've got a fill command and there's more than one comma, it should just keep alternating through the list until it gets to the end. I don't understand why it needs the brackets around it, but okay. Uh, I'll make it work with both though, because I want to maintain some kind of semblance of compatibility. Okay, add door. So we've got our X post, we've got our Y post, and we've got our length, and then we've got is vertical, is open. Okay, so this is our macro. So all this really needs to do is call the correct function in here, which means we're going to need a new. So actually, let me have a look how much memory you've got. I've not been even looking at the memory. Okay, so our music is at 1000. Our loading code is around about 0800, 0900. Then we've got all this stuff in lots of locations, all the way up to 66BF. And I think the screen code starts at 7 something. Let me just have a look. Loader. No, not loader. Is it in game loop? No, it won't be game loop, would it? It'd be map loader. Map loader. There we go. 7400. Okay, so 7400 is where our font map starts. That has to remain unchanged. I can't mess with that. And then our screen code, I believe, goes into 8000 onwards. Yeah. So I can't really mess with that. I can't mess with. Actually, I could probably mess with the upper end of this. I don't even know where they fit. I should probably put those in the screens as well. But at the moment, that's using 16K for screen code, which means we've got about 4K at the moment, just under 4K for more code in here, plus about another 2K at the bottom end. So yeah, okay. It's a custom memory map. It's not this memory map's completely useless as a to visualize it because this is actually cartridge memory, so it won't work with that, unfortunately. So this is why I have my own thing printed out here, so I can actually see myself what they are. I should probably write it in that format though, so I can use that visualizer. But it's fine. I can see it in I can see it in my mind anyway where it is. So um, okay, that's fine. I just want to see where if I've got room to put the door code in that I have. So, but what I might do actually is start using some of the code lower down. So let me just have a look where the main loader is, which is what's this one, isn't it? See, it loads game code into this location, but what I'm going to do is get it to load. So we've got a boot file that loads in here. Where's boot? Boot loader. Here we go. Boot loader. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put a print in here. Actually, did I have a? I thought I had something for this. Screen macros. Let me just open up another section of this. It'll do. Oh, I thought I could have sworn I had a thing for this already printed out. No. Oh, I know where it is. It's in. It's not in all of this. It's in. It's in this loader here. Here we go. Yeah, it was debug. All right. I just want to see where this is, and then I can create another kind of loader section for it. Okay, just gonna quick load. Now that cassette 50 win is announced, can we post your source publicly? I believe so. I would check with Jamie. Okay, but I'm sure. Yeah, as Mad Beagle says, yeah, probably fine with it as well. But I don't see any reason why not. So the current thinking is that the cassette 50 will load a single file on each side of the tape, which will contain 20 20 or so game 26 27 games on it on each side, so you'll get like a menu system where you can pick the game. I have to have a think about it though, because does mean loading like a full 64K load for one game, and then you'd have to redo it again to play the next game, which could get annoying. Okay, where did that actually load to? Oh, it tells me here where the boot is, 800 to 825. That seems very, very low indeed. And the boot. Oh, well, that ain't right, because that should be in here. So that's the cartridge address for the under boot, which is useless. Can you intercept restore to go back to menu? Yeah, so I've thought about that, and I was thinking it's okay to do that if all the games don't set it, but some of the games may actually be disabling restore as part of their setup, and that would mean I'd have to wait for the game to load, then go and hunt down the NMI vector and change that. Um, so I may implement it, but it might not work on every game. So and I'm not going to go through and test every single game to figure out where it is to patch it. That would just take me forever. It took so long to get them all working on tape anyway. I mean, that was a good 4 or 5 hours of my time spent doing that. Do you know when it will release? I mean, I've got to put it together first. So when I'm when I'm ready to put it together. So hopefully not too long. End of boot 825. Is that small? Okay, that seems really, really small. I'm a bit worried that that's so small. No, that is correct. Okay. Okay, fine. Title screen, code, yes, it's up there. Okay, I mean the can't copy stuff is down in in that area there. All right, so we have got some room in the lower area, so I'm going to create another file load here called. Oops, God damn it. Game code two, or I'm going to call it game code low actually, and this is going to be at 0800, and this is just so that I'm utilizing this stuff at the bottom. So yeah, Jamie needs to sort all the art and stuff out, and we need to get the I think Richard Bayliss is going to be doing the tape loading stuff. So that's why I've got to try and get the game as many games as I can to load. I'm trying to get it into two halves. I'm trying to get it so you can load all like 27 or 28 games, whatever I need to load. Half if I split it in half in one single tape load. Which means it's got to all load below D000. Well, below kernel actually can load into D000, but preferably below it if I can get it like that. Which so far it just about does, I think. So okay, so game code low. So what this is going to do is when the game loader starts, which is not this one, this one. So when this loads up, this is going to start the game loop, which is in here. And you can see this loads in some other files. So one of the things this is also going to load in is our game code low. And so now all we need is game code low. So I'm actually going to put this in game code, so it's in the same file as this, just at a different location. You see how these have got locations? So we're just going to create another one in here called game code low. And this is all we need to do to make it work with the cartridge. So to make it work with the cartridge, we need a label for the beginning of it, a label for the end. Then we need to put the start address in here as a pseudo program counter, which we're going to set to 0800. And then we can import our stuff. And this is pretty much just going to be like these areas here. The only thing I am going to do here is I'm going to put a little check at the end just to make sure that we don't overrun at this point here. So I'm just going to put a little note in here. Let's get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. So what I should be able to do is I think if I do if star is more than, is that going to work? Actually, star might not work here. I might have to do this as a var. I'm going to do it as a var just in case. If PC is more than 0FFF, then I think we can do error. Is it throw? I can't remember what it is now. Throw. There is an error in Kicksummer. I can't remember how to do it now. Trying to find out where that goes. It's a cert. What's asserting an error? I don't want to assert an error. I just want to throw an error. It was only suggesting you said I have a loading. It's something I think we want to do because what it does is it reduces the chance of people missing a game on the tape. If you have to load each single game at a different point, it's very likely that tape is going to get battered very quickly. So um, loading the whole thing from beginning to end is a safer way of ensuring the integrity of the tape for a bit longer. Uh, I don't know why I can't find this. Hang on, let me go. Let's just do it through this. Hang on, kick assembler manual. No, I want the HTML one, not the PDF one. I hate the PDF one. Thought it was a throw, but maybe there isn't. Maybe I do have to assert something. There's some feedback from the assembler. No, it's not what I want either. This would be a good AMK opportunity. If anybody knows how to throw an error directly, that would be really useful. Do you know what, though? Wait, hang on. There you go. Talking about AMK points sort of may have helped OSK. That's fine. If somebody helped him do it, that's absolutely fine. He wouldn't be the first person to be helped. He won't be the last. Why's that not loading? I want some wrong one. Anyone heard Elman's Vortex? Yeah. I don't know about Vortex. I've heard a lot of Elman's tunes, and they are awesome. So, what happened there? Symbol game loop is already defined. What? Oh, because I'm importing it twice. Okay, because now I'm importing this twice. Okay, so this will be doors, and this will be whatever the import will be. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this with bytes. So for now, I'm just going to fill it with exactly 600 bytes. What are you saying? Listen for assert error. That's what I'm using. But I assume maybe I don't need that there. Let's just try it with it first. I just want to make sure that this warns me. This is just so that I can get kind of warning ahead of time instead of having to look at the memory map all the time. The build just won't work, and then I can look down the list. So the build has worked there. So let me try creating a situation where it wouldn't work, which is if I make this a little bit longer. This should fail in theory. Oh, it didn't fail though. Oh yeah, there we go. But it didn't quit the build though, which is what I wanted it to do. So let me try without that. Maybe that will work without. Oh, there we go. Missing second argument. Oh, actually, that will fail the build though. That's. I mean, it's a shit way of doing it, but it might actually do the job for now. So I can figure out a better way of doing this. So because that actually stops the build. Oh my gee, so does that one. So even though that succeeds, it still starts to build. Oh no, actually, that should be that, not because that's a valid address. So it looks like list.cert is the looks like list.cert is the way to do it. I assume you meant to type like, not list there. See that's failing. Okay, let's have a look at this. I do want to get this right because I think it's important to have this test in place. So, but I want it to fail but this is oh fucking hell! It was even easier than all of this. The way to do it is error. So that builds successfully. We don't get any error at the bottom, which is good. And then this one should fail miserably. Yeah, there we go. And it points to it as well. Perfect. I knew there was a way of doing it because I've used it in other things. I've used it in my cart stuff before. Oh, in fact, I could have just checked the cart. I could have just checked the cart code, which is here, and I would have seen it on the very first. Never mind. Never mind. I knew I'd done it before. All right. Well, you live and learn, right? So now I want to see if I can just get rid of that variable because that would be nice to shorten it a little bit. I keep pressing the wrong buttons to assemble. Cool. All right. This is all working now. Excellent. Okay. So now in that case, we can start adding new things in. So going to add this into game. It's going to be called doors.asm. Am I using capitals? Yes, I am. Okay. That's something I've changed recently. Stop doing that now. Makes me think of constants all the time when I see that. So I started doing my Game Boy console as well today, and then my bloody soldering iron broke. The elements got in it. Don't know why. Um, so I got halfway through it and had to stop. So I've had to order a new element. Well, actually, I've ordered a whole soldering iron bit. Thank you very much for the follow. Uh, I'll call you Illumi. Illumi 255 because you got a hex value as your last four digits. So I'm going to call you that. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. And cheers. Happy Thursday. Yeah, so I've got a Game Boy Advance over there, taken apart, half wired to an FPGA, and I've had to stop halfway through it, which is really, really frustrating. Okay, so this is our doors code. This is going to be loaded by this. Would it be in there? Yes, it's going to load from here. That's good. And there we go. So now we have a piece of code which should load from the cartridge into 0800 in memory. You should be able to see that in the memory map down here. Yeah, I mean it kind of loads after everything else, but that's absolutely fine. Actually, I can move it up there and then it won't. It's only when it's added that it does that. So Oh no, it still loads at the bottom. Okay, I don't know why it loads at the bottom, but it does. That's fine though. I don't care. Oh, I know why. It's because it is at the it's after it. Put it over here. There we go. Sorry, I'm being perfectionist about this because after doing these kind of things for what seems like forever now. I mean, we've been doing them on stream for about 2 years, haven't we? So um, I'm starting to learn the things that make my life difficult between streams. So I was just trying to make them as easy as possible, and this is one of the things that will help. There we go, doors. Okay, cool. So now we've got some space to do this. All right, let's go back to this. So what do we need to do? Um, okay, so we need to add a door at a given position and of a given length, and whether it's vertical or open. Now, one thing I did notice is that there are multiple doors on one of the screens. So this screen here, which can I zoom into? While it's not been configured yet for C64, you can see indeed that it has a vertical door here and a horizontal door here. So what we need to do is we need to create a system that allows us to have more than one door. So we're going to have a data object in here, and this is going to have next door, which is what we use to work out where the next door that we're going to add goes. We're going to have an add door here. We'll also have clear doors, which will have to be called whenever we exit a room. We need to make sure that we clear the doors away so it doesn't get drawn again. Doors will only be drawn if the room needs to have doors in it. So, for instance, in this screen here, what we'll have is in the update down here. Why can't I scroll that? God damn it! Have I got another? Yeah, pop up. So in here there will be a doors to update. I'll just put it there for now. I don't know where that should be, but this is just going to make sure that any door that needs to be opened or closed can animate properly. And on exit, there will be, call it clear rather than, let's just put add and clear. Clear is going to be really simple. So let's start with the clear first before we work through the add and stuff. So the clear really just needs to set next door back to 0 again. That's all it needs to do. Because when we go through the update, what we'll do is first of all we'll check if the next door is on 0, and if it is, we'll reset. Not reset. We'll exit the loop. So that's all the clear needs to do here. Then this would do. So okay, so what does the door need? So it's going to need the values that we're passing in here. So it's going to need an XPOS and a YPOS. It's also going to need a length. It's going to need that to be the same. We're going to need going to put 2 in for now. I'm going to keep it in here rather than in the constants because it's kind of specific to these. So it's only ever going to be used in here. So might be a silly question, but what's the best way to play your Game Boy game? Only game at home, no commute. 3DS, Game Boy Color. Can it be done on a GameCube? It can be done on a GameCube if you've got the Game Boy Player add-on for it. So you need the Game Boy Player hardware for that. It will work on a Game Boy Advance. It will work on a Game Boy Color. Um, it won't work on a SNES with the Game Boy Super GB player. So if I do apologize if you got that, but the Game Boy player that comes with the SNES won't work on Game Boy Color only cartridges, unfortunately, which is what this is. and of course it will work on emulators and stuff. I think once the game is released, sometime after release, there'll be digital sales of it as well. Um, so that will be an option as well. Okay, length. Then we need is vertical. So we need to know, is the door growing down from the start position or across from the start position? I was watching Tuesday's stream before live session. It was really good. Yeah, the game feels really polished now. Just added in the completion today. Actually, I consider the game complete now. Everything's in place. We're on release candidate 2. I made a small change to the meter to some of the sounds in it because of steps, but steps created some new kind of rocket landing sounded them in. But the game is release candidate status now, so unless a glaring error is found in it through testing, it's ready to go. I do want to complete the game before it goes, so I'm going to try my hardest to complete the game on the actual handheld at some point, just to make absolutely sure you can get through it. Um, so yeah, looking into game one, probably need to see what other games are on the various machines that I want. If you are aiming to get something that will play Dot Cosmos, I would recommend the Game Boy Advance SP. Just because it's a nice little handheld. You can get them with nice backlit screens on them, and they're really good. It gives you everything from the Game Boy, everything from the Game Boy Color, and everything from the Game Boy Advance as well. So you get 3 consoles that you can use with it. Failing that, the if you own a GameCube, I definitely recommend the GameCube player. That's basically a Game Boy Advance um, built into a thing you plug into the GameCube, which will give you a TV out and let you use the GameCube pad. Uh, hey, old school coder. Um, but yeah, the SPs are really good. So I think I paid about £140 or something for mine. So they're not as cheap as you might expect. But they for that money you get something that's been fully refurbished. So they take it apart. They usually replace the battery, brand new shell on it, brand new screen on it, backlight on it, clean it all up and everything. So you get a very nice like new console. Um, and they are great. You can buy a little Ever Flash for Easy Flash or EverDrive for them like this, and that will let you play. Um, Actually, you can even play NES games on. I think with this, I think the Easy Flash lets you play NES games as well. Let me just check. So let's have a look. NES. It loads up. Yeah, it is. It's a really good system. It's one of my favorite handheld. I've got a lot of handhelds now, and this is definitely up there in my favorites. Um, is it called Super Mario Bros. Or is it just Mario? I can't remember. Mario Bros. Classic. Oh, this is just going to load the. Oh, this is. Wait, I don't know what it's doing now. I think it will load NES games though as well. So it's just trying to find one to load. Mario and Yoshi, that'll do. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. You can't really see it very well, but it is loading. It's loading NES games up, which is nice. So you get NES games as well as Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games. So it's pretty good. Uh, Check out Retrofig emulates a whole range of machines, including Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Oh, interesting. I haven't tried it on any of those sort of systems. They're like FPA, FPGA kind of things, aren't they? Um, no, I can't remember if because I know there's the Retron as well, which does something similar. I don't know if they use software emulation on an FPGA to connect all the cartridges, or if they use FPGA hardware emulation as well. So I'm not sure. Um, but I have tested the game on a few different. So I've tested it on 3 different pieces of hardware that I own through 2 different cartridge types. There is a small difference between the EverDrive and the official cartridge. The music is ever so slightly different, and the timings are ever so slightly different. Um, and we've tried it in emulators as well, so it does work in emulators and on a few devices and stuff. So it's pretty well tested at this point. Thank you for the host, Sinlo. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's carry on with this. Oh, old school coder, you just missed out of the top 10 in the game that I wanted to be in the top 10. Just missed out in the thing, and I was giving you praise before for Petsky Pede. I think it's a really, 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 really good game. The most addictive of all the games on that, I think. Very, very good. So congrats on that. Great game. I think you're 10th. Probably with another game though, right? Not. I think Petsky Pede just missed out. It's a shame. I think it was the best one. I think it was the best one of your games. As I say, there were 2 games that missed out in the top 10, which I think, in my opinion, were good. But obviously, it's a shared thing. And actually, I think the top 10 is probably spot on actually from the point of view of everybody. I was just very impressed with how you got the Petsky version of it to feel very much like very much like the original game. It just very fast paced, very good. Yeah, it's good. I liked it. Okay, right. Uh, so so we need to know x plus y plus length. Is it vertical? And then we need to know its current state and next state. So the reason we have a next state is if we want to open the door, right, we will set a byte in here to say that the door is currently closed. Um, uh, let's put a little note in here to say actually, what should we make? Is open, 0 is closed, and 1 equals open. So basically, if both of these states are the same, nothing happens. If these states are different, then we do some sort of animation. So if the door is closed and the next state is open, then we do an animation. And then when the door is completely open, both the states will match, and so on. That way, we don't have to kind of think too much about kind of the data for this. In fact, we can probably combine these 3 into single bytes. Um, but the thing is, we've only got 2 doors, and for simplicity and speed of kind of access, I'm just gonna set them like this with a single byte for each one. Otherwise, it's just going to take too long to read things, and really, I want to save cycles as much as possible. So that should be enough for our door, right? So now we need to add the door. So if we're adding the door, what do we need to do? Okay, so when we add the door, we can actually combine these. I don't see any problem with combining those. We can also probably combine the length with that as well, because the length is never going to be longer than 16. In fact, I think the length is the same on them all. I don't see any reason actually why we should be storing the length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's always going to be 6. The door's always going to be the same size. So actually, let's not worry about the length. Let's get rid of that. It doesn't make any sense to store something which is unnecessary, right? And let's just put a note in here to say doors always 6 in length. I mean, obviously that value may change depending on what Thalamus does with the map, but as far as between doors, it's always going to be the same. So Rogue 4K got higher up than Petsy K. To be honest, had a lot of fun with. Yeah, they were both very good. I think I rated both of them quite high as well. I can't remember which one I rated higher than the other one, but they were both very good in their own ways. Um, Another game I quite liked as well, which I'm not sure how it scored overall, but was the Star Trek game. I actually really liked that game. Um, it was yeah, it was impressive because it was all done with Petsy, but it felt like quite a big game. It felt like it had a lot of kind of depth to it, which was kind of nice. And it had music, had the Star Trek music in it as well. That was a cool little game. That I liked that. Okay, so now we've only got two variables that we need to pass through to the door. So we can actually pass these quite easily, right? So if we just load the accumulator with is vertical, which is going to be this one. Oops. Hang on, what have I got? Oh yeah, I've got the right. So I had the wrong keyboard on. So basically, I'm storing is vertical in bit 0 and is open in bit 1 in the accumulator, right? And then I will load X with XPOS and load Y with YPOS. Now, one of the things we do with the sprites is whenever we set a sprite, we return the index in X. So yeah, we add it here, and then we set sprite frame. The X returns the index, and we'll keep that method intact. So what we do is whenever we add something here, we're always going to return in X the index into this, and then we can use that as a reference throughout. Then, um, hey Warlock, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much as well, both Grey Defender, Warlock, and I don't know if Kate Apocalypse is around, but Kate Apocalypse as well, and Sean, who's not around actually tonight. I don't know where he is. For testing Dot Cosmos as well. Really appreciate it. Without you guys, it would have been um, less pleasant gaming experience, I think. So doors add. There we go. So we add a door in here. So then all we need to do here is we need to grab this in the X register here. Actually, what I'm going to do, oh yeah, I can do it here actually, and then at the very end we could just increment that like that RTS. Obviously, we can't do that straight away. What we need to do is we need to store the X somewhere. So we've got three values. We've got the accumulator, the X, and the Y. Okay. Um, but we need to use an index. So I'm going to store this somewhere. So I'm going to store that as and that will be here somewhere. Again, I use a 16-bit number, but because I put immediate mode on, it's only actually going to use 8 bits. But it just reminds me that I'm doing self mod here. This is fine. Okay, so I'm storing X in restx so I can get that back later. So that would be store accumulator data dot xpos, X, and transfer Y to the accumulator. Store that at data ypos, Y. Then that leaves us just with the current value of the accumulator, which I need to now push into these values here. So the way I'm going to do this is quite simple. Um, I'm gonna take two values. So the first, I'm gonna store it, and then I'm gonna load it back again. Uh, so the first one is going to be the is vertical. Actually, can I do this? That's fine. I'll do it this way. Yeah. What I think is really funny as well is I think I scored things in a really weird way. So I've made this whole spreadsheet, and I kind of scored things. Like things got extra points. Like I scored things from 1 to 100 in each of these things. But for instance, in Wow Factor, you could only score I think 59. You could score up to 59 if it was just Petsky. And no custom stuff, unless it was particularly good Petsky. If the Petsky was amazing, for instance, Panic in the Bank was one, really good use of Petsky, then you would get an extra 10. But then if you had sound, you would get an extra 10, and if you had music, you would get an extra 10. So the games that had music and sound scored extra points. But then I had things like in the execution, I had like whether or not you were using procedural stuff in there. Um, uh, yeah, but whether you had procedural stuff in there, whether or not you were using any other kind of fancy tricks as well. So if you were like using stable rasters and things like that, you would get a bit of extra points for doing kind of technical things as well. Typical me, really. Um, and then fun and originality were obviously quite simple. Replayability came down to procedural stuff as well. So if a game was procedural, it would score higher in the replayability because it would be different each time. So are you sharing how you gave points? I don't know. It's up to Zappy. I don't think there's really much point, to be honest. Um, but yeah, Petsky Pede would definitely have been top five if because it did score low on the originality. Same for me as well. Okay, so and 0, 1, and then this would be stored in is vertical. And then we load again here, and then we shift this to the right to get the is open, and this gets stored in both state and next state. Data state x, data next state, x. And then we would do, I guess here we could do draw door. Okay, so for now we're just going to do a very simple door. We're going to put the right characters in at a later date, but for now, um, I'm going to just draw a number of characters across. So is that right? Just draw. Yeah. Okay. So again, we've got the value in X, so we know where this is on the screen. So we know which one of these it is. So we'll be using that value when we do our update. So I need to put an RTS in there, else it's going to fail. So to draw the current door, okay. So first of all, we need to know So when we draw this, what do we need to know? We need to know, do the states match, and is the current state open first of all, and do they match? Wait, if the states match, let's think about this. Yeah, okay. So we need to take this value and we need to compare that to ranging not equal uh, mid animation. So this is just a marker to say, okay, this God, this door is actually mid animation. So the draw method for this needs to be slightly different. So I'm just going to put that there for now. We'll figure out what that actually means later. Um, the other thing we need to do is if this value is we need to compare it to 0 again, because now we've compared it with this, the comparison to 0 has disappeared basically. So we need to recompare it here. If it's not equal to 0, then we go ahead and draw it. However, if it is equal to 0, then the door is open and we don't need to draw anything. Actually, is open is that, sorry. Is that right? 1 is open. Yeah, okay. So if it's equal to 1, so if it's not equal to 1, we jump to here. If it is equal to 1, then we exit. Door is open and not animating. So exit, don't draw. Okay. So here we need to do the drawing. So this is a normal static door that hasn't moved at all. So next thing to do is we need to work out, do we draw vertically or horizontally? So oh, there's a good point there actually, Zappy. The order may change. So actually no, the order wouldn't change. The order will still be the same. Yeah, no, yeah. So sorry, fine. The order will remain the same. They'll be split into two halves. It's where the split will happen is I don't know. So label name. What are you on about? Oh, ignore you. Okay. Um, awesome competition though, Zappy. I mean, 56 entries has got to be some kind of record for the competitions on the C64. That's an incredible amount. I don't think I've seen any with quite that many entries. And considering the kind of slightly convoluted requirements, um, I'm surprised so many people entered. I deliberately, wanted to create a rule set, and kind of ran it past Mad Beagle and Old School Coder as well. That kind of created an intriguing challenge rather than just you've got 4K. I wanted it to be something that made you think, and I think it really was. So okay. So now we need to draw a door. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up a screen location in Zero Page to start using. So let's find Zero Page and let's grab our tables, which I don't know where they are. They're around here somewhere. There they are, next to it. So we've got these screen rows, LSB and MSB. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to grab YPOS X and transfer that into the Y register. In fact, we can just do that directly. Don't need to do that. And then we can load screen tables, screen LSB, comma X. No, sorry, comma Y. Let's store that in Zero Page somewhere. Now, hopefully, we've got somewhere nice that we can put this in Zero Page. We've got some global temps that probably okay to use. How much Zero Page are we using actually? Zero page list. Not here. Not here. Oh, shitloads. Okay, we've got tons. Okay, let's do this here. So, door. I was going to call it door vector. Oh, actually, have we got? Maybe we've got something called screen. If we've got, I don't want to use the destroyable ones. They're probably not great, nor the collision ones. Not sure what they are. I'm just going to call it screen vector, screen temp vector, or screen temp vec, because then that makes sense to me, and I can use that a little bit later on if I want to for other things. As long as I call it temp. There we go. I thought it was a good way to try and squeeze in as much as possible, squeeze legally as much in as possible. Yeah, it was. It was. That's what I think I found interesting about it, the fact that the rules were strict, but surprisingly, only one game failed out of all of the games. Only one game failed to meet the requirements. So people understood the rules quite well, and I think what it did is it was forced people to think of sneaky solutions. Compression was really kind of off the table, so you couldn't really rely on creating, because you couldn't unpack past 1000, so it really didn't matter. Like most of these competitions, you would see, oh, it's 4K, but as long as the final PRG is 4K, you can use as much as you want, and that this got rid of that and really forced people to think about it. It was good, yeah. Yeah, you were quite prolific as well. I really like Petsky Pete. I think you should do. I think you should add proper graphics to that. I think you could do well with that game. It's honestly good enough. I think you just get some proper graphics around it and get it released. It's very addictive, anyway. Okay, so that's our LSB. So I'm going to add that at 0, and then we need to get the MSB, and that goes here. So now we've got our screen row. So now we know exactly where we are on the screen. Well, we know where the edge of the screen is for the beginning of this door, and now we can grab data.xpos, comma x, actually load y, and there we go. So now we have a way to draw directly to the screen. So in fact, if I just do it here, so if I go and have a look at the character set, so we have a base character set, which is never going to change. The bottom source final, yeah, this character set here is not going to change. For now, I'm just going to use this as a way to draw the door. It won't be using this. It will be using something else. Because what I'm going to do is, when we go to draw the door, it's going to work out. Okay, I need to draw a door. It's horizontal, so I'm going to add these characters to the character set. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's quite easy for me to remove those doors before the screen scrolls, so that the loader can kind of load characters over the top of where the door characters were. So we don't actually destroy any of the kind of quite delicate balance between two screens, needing the character set there. But it does allow us to actually use characters that aren't necessarily in the character map. So we also don't destroy the requirement that the character map is less than 512 or less characters. So we can add as many extra things as we want in there. So maybe Guy's been doing Petsy for his latest game as well. Yeah, also Coda. Seriously, if you get some nice graphics drawn for Petskipede, I think that game could do really well. I honestly do. It's a classic game, and it's made really well. I think it's a very good version of it. You've got the right kind of speed, and everything about it feels really good. You could spend another, stream or two just adding some graphics in, and taking it beyond the 4K, and turn it into a pretty awesome game, I reckon. It's already an awesome game. It was, I say, it's my favorite game of the lot for addictiveness. It's very good. Accept the challenge. Good. Yeah, you should do. And I'm pretty sure if you ask nicely, Zappy will stick it on a tape for you and sell it. So all right, where were we at? Blah blah blah. Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to draw. I'm just going to draw the character one at wherever this location is. Now, hopefully, this should just draw whenever there's a door on the screen. It's just going to draw in the very first location where that door is, and then we'll extend this to work out whether we're going to do horizontal or vertical. It's going to be slightly different for each one, so we'll probably have two paths through the code for this. Um, just don't call it PED-OSK, because then if people say it quickly, it's going to sound wrong. Why is that not loading? What's going on? And the symbol next door. Oh, it's data.nextdoor, isn't it? There we go. So hopefully, when this screen loads now, it should draw just one extra character in an odd place on the screen. It might not happen straight away. I might have to load into the screen. Oh no, it has. Oh, but you see, look, it's drawn it in the wrong place. The reason it's drawn it in the wrong place is because actually the location is one. So the Y position is one more. But that's fine. We can just change that in the macro. No need to have any kind of additional addition in there or anything. We're just going to add it into this position. So our Y position is just one more than it is because it's not zero indexed to Y. Good night, Zendaric. Take care. To be honest, a lot of the games in the cassette 50 competition could do really well as individual games. Some of them, I mean, just surprisingly looked like full games. Um, there were a couple of games that really stood out a lot for their graphics and stuff. The adverts for C50 games often mentioned a free watch. You're going to give out a free watch? Oh, you want one of those, like, the club entry bands? One of those with the watch on it. My phone oh yeah, my phone is charging. I thought it wasn't charging then. Well, slap band, yeah, those slap bands. They were great though as well. I remember those. Yeah, there we go. So we've got one. So all we need to do now is we just need to draw the door. Doesn't matter what characters we're using, we can work out the characters later. What we need to do is just get the kind of method working so we can see this being drawn properly. So let's get it drawing. So it needs to draw 6 characters. And if it's vertical, it needs to do in one direction. If it's horizontal, it needs to do it in the other direction. So we'll have 2 paths through the code here. So we'll have vertical, horizontal. Now, mid animation may actually jump into these loops. I'm not sure how this is going to work yet, so we'll work that out later. For now, if it's mid animation, it's not going to draw anything. I'm going to buy a few tapes, give them out as Christmas presents. Yeah, good idea. You can't use those teeny buttons. God, I remember the Casio watch calculators. They were amazing. I remember always being jealous of somebody who had a Casio. I mean, we were jealous of people who had a calculator stuck on their wrists, and now we're jealous of people who have a calculator in their pockets attached to their phone. Well, we're not jealous of them because calculators is not the thing that we're jealous of. It's everything else. It's all the things that the phone can do other than be a phone. The more things your phone can do that are non-phone related, the more jealous we are of your phone. Honestly, we need to stop calling them phones because that's the last thing that they are nowadays. Um, yeah, you don't use it as a phone. I mean, honestly, of all the things on the phone is probably the least used thing on it. The only time I ever use the phone is when freaking spam people call me and tell me that my national insurance number is being investigated for fraud. Of course it is. And that's why you phone me 3 times a week from different numbers each time. Um, okay, so vertical. I hate it when people call me on those things. Yeah, it's like why are you calling me on a phone? What's going on? Okay, so conveniently, 6 rows um, means we need to add 45 times. So that means we can just use this Y register, right? So what we're going to do is we're gonna just do this. So this is the character that we're going to draw, right? Um, and this is actually going to change depending on where we're at. So actually, what I might do here is so we're going to store X here so that we can return when we're finished. Actually, do we need to return X here? Maybe not, but let's just put it back anyway. And then what we can do, you see, is we can have a table up here of um, door charts, right? And we can set these up to be whichever chars we need them to be. This can be loaded in dynamically as the screen loads in. So part of the add routine can set these values. For now, I'm just going to set them to be some values that we know, which are these base characters here. Um, so I'm going to set them to use this for the start. So basically, this block as a not that block, sorry. Well, these two is the top, these two is the bottom, and then I'll just fill it in with that for everywhere else. So 9. So 1, 2, 6, 7, and 9. Okay. So this would be left, but this would also be top as well. 6, 7, so 6. There we go. So we've got 2 tables, one for the left-hand characters and the top characters if it's horizontal, and one for the right-hand characters or the bottom characters if it's oh, actually no, these would be different as well, wouldn't they? So actually these would just be left and right, and then top and bottom would be different completely. So okay, so there will be 4 of these total. So we'll come back to T and B later, but for now we'll use these ones. So all we need to do here is load X with 0. This is going to be our little loop, and what we're going to do is we're going to load We've already got the Y register set here, so we don't need to do anything to that. But what we do need to do is load door chars left, comma X. Let's store that at this location. Then we need to increase Y, so we move across one. Don't need to change X at this point, but we do need to load the right-hand character and store that at this location here. Then we're going to transfer Y to the accumulator, clear the carry bit. Actually, you can clear the carry bit before we go into this. No need to clear it every time. It's not going to overflow. And we're going to add 27 in hex, which is 39. We're adding 39, not 40, because we're already adding one here. Transfer that back to the accumulator. Reset, compare X to, let's make this a constant. It's probably going to be the same all the time, but let's put it in one place so we can change it easily. I was asked one of those Indian Microsoft employees who his mother's parent trying to steal money from OP, but instantly hung up. Yeah, I like watching Kit Boger as well. Things like those sort of streams are really good. I honestly, I wish they were more. What's the word? Kind of marketed. If the videos were somehow marketed and shown to vulnerable people, to the to older people, and the less kind of knowledgeable people, if they were shown these videos. Unfortunately, the videos are kind of, I mean, they're shown that people are scamming, but they kind of take the piss a little bit, and they somewhat, especially Kit Boger, he kind of imitates old people, and it could probably seem a little bit offensive to some old people, but it does show exactly kind of the sort of things that the scammers will do. um and if you've got any kind of technical knowledge, you will immediately spot that it's a problem. But um unfortunately, the people who don't have that technical knowledge don't know when you open up a terminal window and type stuff in. It looks kind of complicated, and you don't realize what, sometimes all the people are doing is asking you to type random crap in, and they're actually controlling the keyboard on the other end as well, and it means nothing, but they're just finding a way to make it seem like they're restoring stuff or fixing stuff for you. Kitburger is probably infamous in India. Yeah, I think so as well. I think he's been recognized a few times on these streams. Okay, so we're going to jump back to here if we've reached the value, and at this point we've drawn the door, so we can actually exit. We've drawn it all the way to the end. So that's it for the vertical. Now, if we were to draw this mid animation, we'd actually need one other value in here, which is we'd need a animation position, right? And what this can do, if you're at position 0, then your door is basically not animating. These actually, the first thing it will do is, if these don't match, then this will be incremented. This value, if it hits 6, means the door is completely open. And what you basically do here is you would take. Actually, we need to. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think we need that store. I don't think we need that there. If we do need to restore that, then I will, but I don't think we need it. So if we're in mid animation, what we can do is we can load data.animation position, comma X. This will give us a value between 0 and 5. And what we'll do is we'll add 1 straight away. We'll compare that to door length. And actually here we will transfer that into the X register. I see we need to do another check here for vertical or horizontal, which we're not doing here actually at the moment. So let's just assume everything's vertical for now, and we'll add the horizontal one in later, right? So In that case, what we do here is we would just do, let's just call, let's keep that label in here, but let's put, and that's going to basically set the X position to be somewhere already in the list and jump back. So if you look at this, if you look at, let's try and set this up without tiles. Let me turn the tiles off a sec for this. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to draw a door, right? And I want to be able to draw this door animated. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing this kind of this list of characters. So I'm drawing that. I mean, this isn't what the door will finally look like, but this is representing my door. And that's how I do it. I draw this row first, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, this one, this one. Now, if the door opens, it's going to open by sliding up. So all we're basically going to do is if we need to draw, oh, actually, this isn't quite going to work, but it's going to half work, which is a bit frustrating. So what will happen is by default, if the states are 0, then X will start at 0 and it will start by drawing this. However, if the door is in an animation state of 1, that means we've already advanced by 1. So X will get set to 1, and that means it will draw this instead. And so on until, this will shorten each time and the thing will look like it's animating up. Now, the only problem is it's not going to draw these gaps on the end. So what you'll actually get is this. You'll actually get this shape repeating all the way up the screen, but you will get a movement. So what we need to do is we need to do another just final check here, which is if we are if our animation state is anything other than 0, then we just need to draw a space in the next two spaces. So in this case, it would be here. In this case, it would be here, and so on and so on. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm kind of ahead of myself here because I've not even tested the drawing and I'm already doing the animation, but I think it should be fairly straightforward anyway. So, okay, so we do need the X here for this. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to do this here so that this is all kind of one contained thing that I can restore. Yep. Oh, I've lost my chat on the side. Where's that gone? Oh, there we go. But we've got a bit of crap at the top, but not what that's about. It happens now and again. I don't know what it is. I think I need better lighting on the screen, to be honest. I think if it's black, it shows up more. It's Magic Bird. Yeah, it looks like he's doing little things with his fingers. Yeah. Okay, and then when we've got that, we can load data.animation pos x, and if that's equal to 0, we just skip over it. We jump to here. However, if it's not equal to 0, then we've already done the add here. So all we actually need to do here at this point is load accumulator with 0 and store that at this position, increase y, store it at that position as well. Okay, so I'm just going to run this now, and hopefully what we should see is it's going to draw kind of a rough door shape. Hopefully that shape in the door position. Let's not get rid of that though. Let's keep that open. Reading the chat. Confucius says very good. Gmail does a good job of marking spam. Yeah, Gmail does work really well actually. I do keep my Hotmail account, but then I tend, whenever I go into it, there's like tens of thousands of spam emails in there. I don't use it for anything in particular, but sometimes I need somewhere to dump emails that I'm not that interested in. Okay, cool. So we've got one here. Excellent. So basically, if I want to open this door, all I need to do now is in my update in here, I just change a value, or at some point I change a value for this door, right? So let's try opening it here. So this is if there are no doors, it's not going to do anything, which it won't do anyway. I mean, this probably wouldn't be being called if there were no doors, because this door update wouldn't be there, and the door clears would have removed them already. But it's a good practice to have this in here anyway, just in case for some reason we come into here and we have no doors for whatever reason. It would, instead of throwing an error, it will just carry on. It will, it won't just crash out. It'll gracefully ignore it and just return back to the execution. So now what we need to do is we need to go through the doors that we do have, until we reach the end of the doors, like so. And we need to do some checks. So the first check we need to do is, do we need to, well, the only check we need to do is, do we need to redraw the door, right? So, and the only time we ever need to redraw the door is if the states are different. If the states differ, then what we're going to do, well, actually, yeah, just if the states differ. Okay, so we're going to load data dot state, load data dot next state, and these are comma x. And actually, we're just going to compare. We're going to compare next state. Actually, it doesn't really matter which way we do this. Compare them like that, and I'm going to put this as skip here. And if they're equal, we go to skip, because we don't need to do anything if they're the same. If they're not the same, then the next check we need to do is animation. In fact, no, that's it. That's all we need to do. If they're not the same, then what we need to do is we need to jump to draw door. That's it. That's all we need to do. We do need the X, because you see here we're using the X in this loop, so we do need that X. So we need to make sure that gets restored. So if we come into here, store X with rest X, that gets restored at this point, and that is properly restored. Okay, cool. If we come into here, X is set here, we jump into here, so it's not restored. So we do need to store that. Actually, we can probably just do that. Just going to do it up here. Well, I'll do it here, actually. It's probably going to need storing in a few places, but we can do it all at this location here rather than dot them around. Or what we can probably do instead is, if it is a problem, we can put it down here. So, in fact, let's do it like that, because that will save us a couple of bytes, a couple of cycles even. So that will be door temp x, door temp x. Right. Okay. So now whenever this function runs, we're always going to be able to grab that door temp x before we exit. Okay, so we draw the door, we come into here, these two values are different. So now we go to mid animation. Mid animation says, okay, take our animation position, which at this point should be 0. So we just need to make sure. Okay, we do need to reset. When we reset, we need to store that at animation pods. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a door which automatically opens or closes. Or we can do it when we add. Actually, let's do it when we add the door. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. So when we add the door here, we can just say let's put that up with the next state. So that actually ties the door state to the adding of the door. So when you add a door, you add it. You can't add a door mid state. You add it either open or closed, and everything. That's a good background. I like that one. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna add a list in. I like having the list of discovered backgrounds to be. You have a partial one. Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think it's more interesting if you have to kind of remember things, or just as SP does seems to do, just write them down as you discover them. So it's a good idea. And then you can look all powerful when you know all the backgrounds. I've got absolutely no room to add more in, um, more kind of lists in. And the crazy thing is once you've discovered them all, you are not going to be able to discover the ones you've already found. So you need to remember those ones. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm getting some weird sparkling in that top corner for some reason. I don't know why. Uh, Here somewhere, so around about there. I don't know why that's happening. Try shining the light on it a little bit more. It might stop it. Hasn't really helped, has it? I need a better diffused light. The light I've got, it doesn't diffuse very well. So if I shine it straight at the green screen, I get a big white spot on it, which is not ideal. Okay, so now we're in the animation. So that hopefully now what this means is we can wait, hang on, we add one value to it here, but then we need to store that here as well. So then here we would do load accumulator. Uh, uh, Animation door position compare to door length again, same here. And if it's not equal, we jump to skip. But if it is equal, what we do is we load next state, store that at state, load accumulator with 0, store that at. Okay, cool. So now what we have is we have a door that can open and close. Now this is going to open very quickly, so we probably want to stagger how often this update happens. Um, but that's fine. We can do that. We can do that in here, so that runs on the timer. We probably are going to end up staggering a few things around anyway, to make sure that not everything updates at the same time. That some things only update on odd numbers frames or even number frames, things like that. For now, we'll just see if this works. It should be just about noticeable. It'll be quite quick, but it should be noticeable. So let's have a look. How can we make that door open? So at the moment, we don't really have um, anything to say open or close the door. So I think what I'm going to do, so we add a door here, which means this door is going to have an index of 0. So here's our update here. So what I might do is just as a temporary measure, uh, so doors dot data dot animation dot next state. plus 0 because we know there's only one door on this screen. If that is equal to what was door is open, if that's equal to, well, okay, if it's not equal to, if it's open, and we jump to here. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load accumulator with 0, which is no, with 1, which is open, and store that here. So this is just basically checking the fire button on joystick 1, which actually does nothing at the moment, because it's a dual joystick thing. So actually, the joystick, the fire button on joystick, well, the fire button on both joysticks actually don't do anything in this mode, which is another thing we need to do soon. Actually, we need to implement the multi kind of multi control systems. So at the moment, I'm relying on everybody having 2 joysticks, but obviously that's never going to be the case for everybody. So it'd be nice to add a system in that allows us to do more. So hopefully, if I press this, okay, nothing happened at all. Interesting. Is that it might not even be being picked up for whatever reason. Let me. I'll tell you, I can quickly test that that's actually getting to that point. By just doing this. Fortunately, I still haven't worked out my breakpoint things with this, so I'm having to resort to kind of old method. This is like the old way I would do tests for things like this. So I'm going to be doing Mega 65 on Saturday. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing on the Mega 65 street. Yeah, it's not even getting to that point. So one of my conditions is wrong. Probably just going to carry on with Perseus. I don't know. See what I feel like. But that's currently what I think I'm going to be doing. Doors data next state. If it's equal to 0, maybe jump to there. Okay, let's try it the other way around. I can't see that working either, though, to be honest. I think it's to do with the joystick read. Luma demo? What do you mean Luma demo? Oh, you mean just play it? I guess I could, yeah, but you've seen Luma though. It's there's no different. It's the same game. But I can go through it. I'll go through it a little bit. I'll go through what I did. Maybe that's a good thing to do. Ah, there we go. Okay, so I just had the doors the wrong way around. So let me just look at the data again. So 1 is open, 0 is closed. Okay, so 0 is closed. Wait, then it should be skipping this completely. Ah, no, it should be skipping it. Or am I setting it wrong? Hang on. Door is 0. Passing in door state. Maybe maybe my macro is wrong. Maybe this value that's been passed in here is wrong. The value that's been passed in is 1 plus 0. So it should be 1 basically. Which means in here, when we go to add the door, so we take the value in the accumulator, yes, and we AND it with a 1 and store that as vertical. That stores this bit here, which is good. Then we restore that value again, shift it to the right, and store that in these 2 values. Okay, let me just do. I'd like to know what that value is. Actually, to disable, let's just do that there. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Actually, I will. I'll go through how I updated the game for Mega 65 because it's probably quite interesting. Man, I did mean to do a YouTube video, but I just had no time at all to do it. YouTube videos do take quite a few hours of time to prepare, unfortunately, so I didn't really have time to do it. 5 a.m. Cape. What for? Oh, for a no, not for a. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, you're desperate. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? Pull yourself together. Show some dignity. Okay, that didn't work at all, did it? All right. Oh, Hayes. Hey, Hayes. See you there, Lurkin. Quiz Lurkin. Hey, my command. Welcome. Duh, 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 duh. 5 AMK points for dignity. Oh, you need to yeah, minus 5 AMK points if anything. Quiz lurking sounds like a quiz. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I hate Harry Potter as well. My kids drove me mad with that. Okay, why is that state not being set? There's something weird going on. That state is not being set properly. So I'm gonna find out where that is in memory and just check these values out because they should both be on 0, but they're not for some reason. Um, yeah, they should both be on 0, but for some reason they are not. Oh, wait a minute, because I'm being an idiot. I'm being a complete moron. Door state is here, and I'm passing that in like this. So I need to set the initial door state manually in here rather than with this thing here. And the door state will be stored. The door state will be stored actually in the door array. So the door state is actually going to be stored in the doors class, if you like, rather than in here, right, in the doors kind of system. Um, so is the door open? No. Okay. So hopefully this should work now. I'm hoping actually, if I do a Mega 65 stream to show you how I did Luma, I'm hoping that will gives people a little bit of inspiration about it because it is incredibly easy. When you see how I did it, it's actually really easy. And I used some clever tricks to emulate using color RAM when I wasn't using color RAM, which actually worked out really well. And you can do the same tricks on pretty much any game, I think. So if your game does rely on color RAM, which Luma does, then you can still rely on. You can still use. Oh, why is it not? Oh, it's not detecting it now because now my thing's the other way around now. God damn it. Which one was it? It was this one, wasn't it? So if the door is open, then don't do anything. Okay. But yeah, I think most, especially single load games, you could take a single load C64 game, you could spend about a week, if that. I mean, it really was. I say I spent a week on it. It was probably round about 5 or 6 hours or something, and some of that was uh, drawing, um, drawing graphics for it as well. So if you spend like 2 days or something, 2 days worth of time, 16 hours or something, you could easily convert any existing game to there we go, any existing game to Mega 65. You just have to have the graphics for it. Okay, so it's definitely done something, but it's not quite right. So let's just take a look at why that is. um, okay, so in our door drawer update, which we do here, uh, we actually grab the screen vector here before we do this check. So I think what we should do is, instead of doing this check last, is we should do it here. So we need to set up all our animations, all our screen states here. So we've got the proper screen position for this. Then we can check if we're in mid animation. If we are in mid animation, we can jump to here. X is still a valid thing to use here. Y has already been set up, so we don't need to do anything with that. and then we jump in. Okay, that should probably be all right. Let's just give that a try. Good night, Igor. Thanks for joining. Hope you have a good sleep, or well, yeah, good night. It will be a sleep, right? Oh, I didn't notice the background change. What's that? Is that Orlando or something? I guess it is Orlando, isn't it? Yeah, I thought so. Is that the Hulk ride? Is it the Hulk ride? I think it is the Hulk. Freaking good ride. Okay. Oh, okay. So this time it started off all right, and then it broke because it went too far. So let's just have a look at why. Looks like you're on the ride. Ah! They've got the right kind of seat behind me as well. If it's the one I think it is, that's a really good ride as well. Because they're very. If you've never been on it before, in fact, I shouldn't spoil it in case people go on it. But yeah, there's a bit of a surprise that I wasn't expecting on it, and it's pretty good. Can you really do spoilers on roller coasters? I don't suppose you can. I think it's the Hulk. I can't remember the name of it, but I might just be thinking Hulk because it's green. Okay, so it draws fine, but then if I try and draw from here, it goes a little bit too much, right? So solder station. I need a new soldering iron. I'm so annoyed. Oh. I really struggled to find a background of that didn't have any text on it, so I might check annoyed. Yeah, I'm only supposed to blow the doors off. I blew the entire screen off. Okay, I'm not sure why though. This is the weird thing, right? If I get the animation position here and I add 1 to it and transfer it to the X register. Ah, hang on. So this is a problem here. If I exit here, I do need to restore the X again. So I do need to do this. So that could be one thing about it, because then it comes into here and it needs to store. Yeah, it needs to, okay, that's probably it actually. But there's no night. There is. Is there a night? No, he's not on the screen, is he? Well, you still haven't send me a background. Pick a background for your name and send it to me. All right, let's hope this time that the doors open. There we go. So it did draw one last section, which it shouldn't do. And the reason it's drawing that last section is because it draws a section of 1. Where is it here? So the last check it does in the mid animation is, are we already at the door length? If we are at the door length, then we don't draw it, and that's because we've advanced by 1. But really what we should be doing is, instead of exiting here, we should be jumping to this position here instead. This point here. So I'm going to call this vert exit. Which means I can get rid of that RTS. I do still need to load the X in there, but now this should animate the all the way up. Now, what I'm going to do also while I'm here is I'm gonna put this timer thing in as well. So I can't remember what we called it. I think it was just like timer, frame timer. That seems like almost the right thing, but oh, it is just frame timer. Is that in 0 page or something? Yeah, it's in 0 page. It's there. Okay. So I'm going to slow it down like 4 times, so it's a bit slow. It's probably still going to be a bit too slow actually, like that. But let's try it like that for now anyway. If it's equal to 0, we're going to jump ahead. Otherwise, we're going to exit. So this should slow that door down now, and we should be able to see it open properly. And that's not bad for tonight. We've considering I've chatted so much, we've got the kind of animation in, so we can start working on the horizontal one. Should be pretty easy. Ghostbusters. I really was tempted to put the female Ghostbusters in, just to annoy people, because I know people are not as keen on the reboot as they are on the original. So I just wanted to stir some controversy and put it in, but I thought no, even I can't do that, so I didn't. The favorite. I actually quite like the reboot. I can understand why people aren't that keen on it. I mean, it's certainly not got the magic of the original one, but it wasn't that bad. I've definitely seen worse films. Okay, cool. That opened the door. I think it was a bit too slow though, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. It wasn't that bad. It was far worse. I didn't mind it. I honestly didn't mind it. I thought it was an average film. It wasn't anything special. You could see it was good enough to do all right in the cinema. It was bound to cause controversy. It's Ghostbusters, for God's sake. Yeah, that's better. Um, it's like if I mean, and this is one film I hope they never ever remake. Back to the Future. They remake that, I'm storming out of life. Uh, It wasn't a shiny. I really liked Joker. I thought Joker was very good. I thought Joker was very good. Okay, cool. Right. So now what I want to test is, does the door actually stop? Or Napoleon. Oh my god. Hey, you guys winding me up now. Napoleon Dynamite is good. Sorry. What about Scott Pilgrim? Please tell me you like Scott Pilgrim. Okay, so that's blocked there. That's good. So the doors actually do their job. And there you go, they can open. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can make it close again to test the animation in the other direction. So here, what I'm going to do now is, instead of checking, uh, Joker was great because it wasn't run of the mill. Yeah, I think that's why I liked it, actually. Thalamus, that's exactly why I liked it. I absolutely detest the average run of the mill superhero films. The only one I can, no, there's two actually I've managed to watch over the years, and that is Deadpool 1 and 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. They're the only superhero films I can watch. Everything else annoys the shit out of me. Can't stand the Batman films, can't stand the Spider-Man films, can't stand any of the Marvel superhero films. The Avengers is just a pile of shite as far as I'm concerned. Um, it's just an excuse for movie companies to spend millions on CGI and just make a fortune out of a franchise because people like comics, and they're terrible films. Um, how do you know if you didn't watch any superhero I have watched in the past 10 years has been terrible, except for Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy, and I just can't be bothered watching them. I've got no investment at all in the characters, no investment in any of the X-Men characters, no investment in any of the kind of Iron Man films, Spider-Man, any of those. Just no investment in them whatsoever. So to me, they're just ridiculous films that don't really have much substance. They're just CGI fests. Joker. Oh god. Joker, on the other hand, I absolutely loved, because it was a story about a man going crazy, and I really liked it. He'd rather Iron than watch Iron Man. It turns out Josh Whedon is a massive dick. Didn't see that coming. Yeah, that's a bit of a shock, actually. I suspect people. There's a lot of people in Hollywood that are like that, and we're just finding out slowly but surely about them all one at a time. Okay. So what I want to do now is just check that the door can close again. So I'm going to do the same check here, but now what I'm going to do is instead of checking the next state, I'm just going to check that the animation pause is not equal to 0. Skip, yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. So I do apologize if you really like those films. I don't begrudge anybody watching those films. I think, if you like those, then great. Then you're being very well catered to. But unfortunately, for those of us that don't like superhero films, we're just sick of seeing them because, half of the films in the cinema are just superhero films, and it's just really annoying. That's where all the money goes now. But the time will come. I'm sure there's going to be another genre of film that takes off soon. Um, I appreciate that the films are well made. I mean, they are. The production values are incredibly high on them. It's just they're boring. Um, I had the same feeling with gangster films from the 80s, uh, 70s and 80s. I couldn't bring myself to watch things like Scarface and Casino and Godfather and stuff like that. It just bored the hell out of me. Um, wasn't my thing at all. I'm sure I am, but I've really failed to enjoy any superhero movies other than I do give them a try now and again. Oh, you mean gangster movies? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've tried so many and I just get bored so quickly. Um, yeah. I'm honestly not missing out. There's plenty of films I do like. So I like my science fiction. I like my comedy films. So that's where my heart lies in the science fiction stuff. So and I don't count superheroes as science fiction. They're fantasy comic stuff. So um, anything interesting coming out this year? There was one. Was it a Ryan Reynolds film? It might have been a Ryan Reynolds film. Is it Everyman or something like that? I can't remember what it is. Not Everyman. Can't remember what it is. Damn it. Uh, Matrix 4. Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that, but I didn't enjoy 2 and 3 to be honest. I mean, they were watchable just about, but they weren't the same as, after watching the first one, they were just on a different level completely. Okay, it's always closing, not opening. Ah, okay. Now that is because uh, what we're doing in the door update here is we're adding one instead of, we maybe what we want to do here is actually subtract one instead. This depends on the door direction. So we need to do a little bit of calculation here, right? So first of all, if the door, okay, so door animation position compare with door length. If it's already at the door length, okay, so this actually needs to be a little bit different. Need to think about this. Uh, yeah, Queen's Gambit was good. I enjoyed that. They never made Matrix 2 and 3. Uh, oh, I do need to finish Better Call Saul. I think I only got to like season 3 and then I stopped. Ended up doing something else. Lord of the Rings. That's another one. I can't bring myself to watch Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit because I read the books and I know that they're going to spoil my imagination of the books. I can't bring myself to watch the films. So I know the movies are good. I know people tell me the movies are good. I just can't bring myself to watch it. It's one of those things I don't want to ruin. I've got such a nice kind of image of it all in my head from when I was a kid. I can't ruin that. I can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it. I'm sure they're very good films, and one day maybe I will watch them. But at the moment, I like what I have in my head, and I don't want that to be spoiled. Uh, I've been burned by other films. Um, yeah, yeah. It is a perfect example of. I mean, it is. I don't think it is done very well, to be honest. But the original It film was really bad, and I watched that after reading the book, and it kind of it just ruined my vision of the book. I constantly now when I think of it, I think of Pennywise as in the original was it 80s, late 70s, 80s, whatever it is, movie. And I can't picture how I originally pictured it anymore. I just see it as that, and that really annoys me. So um yeah, the Langoliers was good actually. It's a kind of cheap budget film, but it was a very very good film. Um yeah, well, it could do with a redo, yeah. Um Yeah, they ruined it, and for that reason, I won't watch the new It as well because I realize that the new It is basically just going to be the same there. Um, uh, I love Lord of the Rings, but I can't picture the story. Like, see, yeah, that's what I don't want to do. I've had it happen with that. What was the one where the is it Tommy Knockers as well is another one I think that ruined it for me watching the TV version of it. Um, and Salem's Lot as well was another one that the TV the movie version ruined. So yeah, Stephen King is a really good example of books that get ruined. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Thankfully, I've watched the series so much that the film I've just managed to completely blank out. I can barely remember the film. But I regret watching it, but I barely remembered it. Um, Pet Cemetery. Yeah, I don't think I've seen the Pet Cemetery film. I really don't want to watch Stephen King films anymore, if I'm honest. For that reason, there was no film you made that up. uh-huh. Abbey Road without the Beatles on it. It's actually a modern shot of it, but they've parked somebody's parked a Beetle on that side, and they parked in this bit here. They parked a black car that looks similar to the black car on the cover, but it's not. It's a modern one. You can tell it's a modern car when you look at it. But it's a good screenshot, good photo because they've recreated it fairly accurately. Um, yeah. Do you know the funny thing is everybody does the Abbey Road walk, right? But the crazy thing is that crossing is not in the same place as it was. So it's actually it's slightly moved. It's like 10 meters up the road or something from where the original crossing was. So so it's kind of pointless. People are taking these pictures and it's not even the right place anymore. Um, yeah. Anyway, right. So we need to make the door close. So to make the door close, we need to go the other way with the animation position. Um, so first of all, we need to work out when we get to this point. Um, do we need to be animating the door forwards or backwards? Because that changes what we need to compare against here. So what we need to do is we need to compare not the door length, but if the states are different here, which actually we have already compared here. Um, so actually, what I'm going to do, where's our draw door? Okay, we draw the door here. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a carry flag check here. If the carry is clear, then we're going to go to skip. If the carry is not clear, then we're going to set the states to be the same, and we're going to reset the animation position. Then that way we can use the carry flag in here to decide kind of how we exit. So if we're in mid animation, then what we need to know is what is our next state. So if our next state, so this is our state. Okay, so we need to load next state, comma X. Okay, so we need to compare that to 0, which is open, so closed. So if our next state is closed, well, actually we can just do closing and opening. Okay, so we don't need that compare 0 there. Okay, so if we're opening, then this is the animation we need to do. We need to advance through the animation forwards, thereby drawing less and less of the door each frame. And we basically do this exactly the same. Yes. Otherwise, once we get to this point, okay, so we need to clear the carry flag all the time on exit here. Otherwise, we're at this point. Oh no, actually, clear the carry flag here. Otherwise, we set the carry flag here and jump to the exit. Okay, so this is what happens when we open the door. Now, when we close the door, we're going the opposite direction. So the code is pretty much the same, except now we're going to subtract 1 and store the animation position, and we do the drawing again. Now, this time, what's happening is the door is moving forward. So actually, we don't need to draw this bit here. Which is a bit of a problem because it's always going to draw this. So let's see what happens at this point. We might have to change this slightly. We compare this to 0. This is a door closing. So when we're at the last point, yeah, so we can actually do, there we go. Door completely, oh, why does that look wrong? There we go. Door completely closed. So at this point, we set the carry flag and exit. We go to vert exit here. Now, if the door is closing and it's completely closed, then we probably don't need to do this bit here. So instead of jumping to here, we can just exit. I think we can just RTS here. Right, let's give that a try. This will be the last thing I do once I get this work. Either I get this working or half past comes, whichever one is sooner. It was just a government conspiracy to get people off Abbey Road for repainting. It was Abbey Road album that produced the conspiracy theory of him being dead. Oh, oh my god. Yeah, because you need to put 4 values in there. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a change I could probably make, but I'm not in a rush to do that. Okay. Oh. So it's going one way, but not the other. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the door animation position up here somewhere, so I can see it as it's animating. So I'm going to take that value. Just in your background picture, and that's cool. That's great. I love it. It's probably only going to clip the top half of it though, because the aspect ratio. But I'll make sure that's that crops correctly, so crops nicely anyway. Yeah, I get the important bit. That's fine. It looks really good. I like it. It's such a good view. All right. What was I going to do? Blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, I was going to put the value at the top. Let's say so. I need to just look at the font a second. Oh, projects proceed anyway. Yeah, don't care about that right now. So, oh damn it, what's that one? I was on the right one all along. Here, okay, so plus D0. Okay, so I'm just going to do it here, where I'm going to take doors, nation pause here. Is it screen that? That didn't auto complete for me for some reason. Why is that not auto complete? And I'm worried about that now. Okay, should do. So what I'm looking for is the number going from 0 to 5, or 0 to 6, or 1 to 6, something like that, and then backwards the other way. It could just be that it's not going backwards properly. So because it's definitely doing the open properly. Oh, that happened super quick. Oh, actually, it's not showing the right value here at all. That's interesting. Why is it not showing the right value there? Helps if I use immediate mode. So that was a 5-pointer there. Easier 5-pointer. Okay, and I'm going to slow this down just so I can see it happen. You can see how it went from 0 and nothing's happening now. And nothing's happening now. Okay, so that's when it increases. Oh, I think it's because I'm not setting the initial value, right? So, oops, let me open that one again. So in here, what's happening is I'm setting the state uh, to different things, but I'm not setting the animation position. So what I need to do at this point is say, okay, hang on, think about this. So it gets into here. I set the animation. No, I don't set the animation position. I set the next state. At this point, I need to be setting the position as well. So I need to take the value that's in the accumulator. If the door is going to be open, okay, so I need to ignore it again. So this is just temporary. Let me just put that in here that this is temporary. So this needs to be either 0 or 6. So now this is 0 or 1. So if I double it, then double it again, clear the carry bit, and then add. And now it's checking animation position, and that's not what I want to do. So now what I want to do is get rid of that, compare that to, okay. It's not good when the temporary code is a little bit complicated. It really shouldn't be that complicated, but whatever. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left. We'll probably get this going, I think. Okay, so now it's going that way each time now. Let's just slow that right down. So it was an improvement anyway. It goes, it counts up and then gets reset to 0. Oh, it shouldn't be getting reset to 0, actually. It should be being left alone, depending on the way the doors open. So actually, that's something we need to do at the beginning here. So when we add the door and we set this, so that needs changing, which means when the door is being drawn, it's being reset at some point, which is probably in here in the update. Yeah, it's being changed here. Okay, hopefully that will. Ah, that was cool. What was that? Ferrari Formula One. That's one of the cleanest samples I've heard on the CC2. That's crazy. Uh, he was under the impression that the flashing switch just opens the door. Yes, it does. But the thing is there are cases where I need to close the door as well. So there's some rooms where the door will close. I'm just using this this room as a test for getting the thing working in both directions. Go Descent. That was a great game. I really liked Descent. It was difficult though. You needed a good joystick to play. I think the first time I played it on a gamepad, and it was awful because you couldn't do hard. You need like all sorts of like, you need a good kind of flight stick to play it properly. Actually, when Tom DeGossa played it, I think he played it with two flight sticks, which makes quite a lot of sense actually. It was cool because it was like proper 3D. There weren't that many 3D, like real 3D games out at that time. So it was kind of quite unique in that sense. Probably still stand up quite well today, although it's all software rendered. I think I don't think there's any hardware rendering in it. It's a good tune. This I like this. All right, I think this is probably the last go tonight, and then we'll find someone to raid. So raid suggestions, please. Okay, it's always counting the wrong way now, but at least it's working. It's working the same on every thing. So you're raiding your bed. Oh, it's weird. It only works actually. So the open is not working probably, but that's fine. We can do that on the next one. Sorry, the close is not working. Scoundrelema's Dwarf Fortress is true. Yeah, let's give Scoundrelema a raid. We raided him last time. Like that. Cool. All right. Yeah. So Saturday we're going to do Mega 65. I think Andy's idea is pretty good. We'll go through. We'll spend an hour or so just going through how I did Luma first. It might be of use to you guys doing this month's challenge. Incidentally, you've got about a week and 2 days left on that as well. So it'd be interesting to see how you guys are getting on, and if I can give you any tips on the last week as well. So um cool. Let me click the raid button, start raid, and then we're good. So yeah, we'll do that for the first hour, or maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And then in the second half, we'll get on with some Perseus and do some animation and collision stuff as well. Get that game going and up and running. And I'll try and get Pick a Mix polished and ready for a kind of a playtest stream, probably on one Tuesday at some point. But yeah, cool. Thanks for joining tonight. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you all on Saturday. Cheerio.